Welcome to City Life. I'm Beverly Thompson. It's summertime, and that means trips to spray grounds and pools or sprinklers in the yard. Summer is also a time when many of us use lots of water on thirsty yards and on landscaping. So, what can you do to save water and money? Joining me to share some simple tips are James Lim and James Blake with Durham's Water Management Department. Welcome to you both, and thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
So, James, let's get started with you. This James. Why is it so important to conserve water, first of all?
Well, despite all the rain we got in May, water is still and always will be a limited resource. So it's really important that we try to use it as wisely as possible. The city uses an average of about 27 million gallons of water every day. And in the hot summer months, we can see an increase of that of nearly 25%.
Wow.
And a lot of that is due to outdoor irrigation, as well as the increased use of evaporative cooling towers to keep buildings, large buildings, schools, hospitals cool. And so it's very important that we make sure we extend the life of our water supply.
Yeah, we don't think about how much water we use, do
No,
we?
we don't.
Wow, so
Not
it's good to do that. So I know you advise people to follow a water schedule for their yard.
Yeah, and actually, so Durham has an alternate day watering schedule, which is actually mandated by city ordinance. And it's based on people's addresses, and it's designed to help even out our use throughout the week. And so odd addresses are allowed to water on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and then even addresses are allowed to water on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. And you'll notice I didn't mention Mondays.
No.
No one's allowed to water on Mondays.
No
actually.
one's allowed
Right.
to water on Mondays.
Right.
Okay. And what about the schedule? I mean, I think I read that you cannot water between a certain time.
That's right. So we ask on the days that you're allowed to water, you can only water before 10 a.m. or after 6 p.m.
And why is that?
That's basically because that 10 to 6 tends to be the hottest part of the day, especially during the summer months. And so we lose a lot of that water that you apply to your lawns just to evaporation, and that's just a waste of water. And so we want to make sure that doesn't happen.
Okay.
And I'll also mention while we're talking about it to make sure that when we're irrigating our yards that we're not watering the street or the sidewalk
I've seen that
or
plenty of
driveways.
times.
Yeah.
I understand you guys have a myriad of different programs that people can take advantage of.
We do. And first, I'd like to mention we have lots of conservation tips and efficiency advice on our website,
Okay.
durhamsaveswater.org.
Okay.
And some of the programs we offer while we're talking about outdoor irrigation is our rain barrel program.
Okay.
So rain barrels are a way for customers to collect water off their roof and use that to irrigate their lawns and gardens, things like that. And so we've partnered with Rainwater Solutions to be able to offer those rain barrels to our water customers at a wholesale price. And so they can be purchased online again at durhamsaveswater.org. Talking about some of the indoor things we have to offer, we have our ongoing toilet rebate program. So residential customers can be eligible for a $100 rebate if they purchase and install
That's really good.
a WaterSense toilet. That's
Yeah.
a high efficiency toilet that's been rated by EPA's WaterSense program. And it's a simple application process, and that's again available on our website.
Okay. All
So,
right.
yeah.
All they have to do is just go to the website, fill out a form, or
Yeah, they can download the application and submit the required documentation to us, and then it's applied directly as a credit to their water bill.
Okay, all right. So this, James, your turn now. I understand you are a lab services manager.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the hard question for you, okay? Top of mind for everybody now, of course, is Flint.
Yes.
Think
yes.
what's going on in Flint. Tell us a little bit about that. Help us understand that a little bit more. I think everybody's just associating, bad water with Flint and not really understanding what happened there.
Well, the city of Durham has two terminal reservoirs that we use as water sources, Lake Mickey and Little River. We do thorough testing on each of those water sources ahead of treatment processes, so we know the quality of our water before we actually get to treatment. So we would know whatever chemicals we would need for coagulation, what we would need as far as chemicals for corrosion inhibitors. We would know all of those things in advance. So when it came time to treat the water, we would know exactly what we would need to apply to each batch of water that we are treating, and therefore we wouldn't run into the problem that they had in Flint, where they were using a source where they didn't really know the true water quality of the water source.
Okay, all right, very well explained. I appreciate that. So what kind of testing do we do then?
Well, the city of Durham has a certified water and wastewater laboratory. And in those laboratories, we run probably 3 large groups of analysis. We run microbiological analysis, metals analysis, and wet chemistry analysis. So we're looking at all of the parameters that we are regulated by the state to meet regulations for. We're looking at those every day to make sure that the water that we are treating and sending to citizens in the city of Durham meets all state and federal regulations.
Every day.
Every day.
So right now we're getting ready to kick off a certain kind of testing. It's called the
Triennial. Yes.
triennial lead and copper rule
Yes.
testing. Tell us a little bit about
City
that.
of Durham, as well as other agencies, are required every 3 years to do a lead and copper testing. And the City of Durham has more than 200 homes that were built between 1983 and 1985 that we have in a pool that we test once every 3 years. And so what we do is we have analysts who will go out to homes in this pool, and they will give them a testing kit, and they will collect the water sample, bring them to our certified laboratory, and we will run those analyses and report those results to the state. And that is done once every 3 years.
Now, how are the findings communicated back to the residents?
Well,
Or
the
those
findings, we normally are reporting those to them via email.
Oh,
We have gotten
okay.
to the
So they
process
do
where
get-
we can send them their reports via email, and then a report is actually then submitted to the state.
Okay, and one more question about that. Why between 1983 and 85?
There was in the Safe Water Drinking Act, 1986, they banned the use of lead-based solder. And so the homes between 83 and 85 are probably more likely to have some lead-based solder from plumbing. And so we are looking at that as a core group and seeing what is happening with that group.
Okay, so what can residents do overall to prevent any kind of exposure to lead?
Well, there are probably several things that we can do. One of the things we recommend is that if you have been away from your home or water has stood in your pipes for more than 6 hours without use, we suggest that you flush that line for 1 to 2 minutes before you use the water. Cold water tap is the best one to flush. We also recommend that you not use hot water for making formula for babies or cereal for babies, because hot water is likely to absorb lead more quickly than cold water. So we would suggest to you in any of those situations that you would use cold water and either heat it up on the stove or in the microwave. We also suggest that from time to time you take the strainer off of your faucets and allow water to actually flow through there and clean those. And most of us don't think about that, but if we clean out those aerators in those, then that helps with reducing the possibility of lead contamination.
Now, that's only if you're in a house that's of a certain age?
That's in any house.
In any
We would
house.
say in any house. And again, it's just because you never know what is flowing through lines, what is being trapped in those aerators, and you just want them periodically to clean those and make sure that any debris that is there, you've gotten rid of it.
Okay, so if our customers or viewers, I should say, have any kind of concerns, can they just call you? Or?
Well, we have a system set up that they can call Durham One Call at 919-560-1200. They can call Durham One Call and they can make a request to have their water tested for lead if they so desire. Again, we open that up to everyone, but again, usually 1983 to 1985 is that area of greater concern. But again, it is open to anyone, again, to call Durham One Call and get that done.
If someone is concerned that they may have been exposed to lead, or even worse, their child may have been exposed to lead, what can they do?
Again, we have a system in place where you can call our Durham One Call. And
Okay.
there's also a program with the county health department where you can call and they will actually talk with you about exposure to lead. So I'm not sure, I can't remember the number off the top of my head, 919.
I have it here, 707-5950.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's the Durham County Health Department,
Yes.
the Children's Environmental Health Branch.
Yes.
I believe, yeah. So that's just good information for people to have, especially if they have children and have concerns.
Yes, yes.
That they may have been exposed
And
to.
Beverly, along those same lines, as James is talking about conservation, when we talk about flushing the lines,
Yeah.
we usually encourage people to catch that water that they are using to flush, that they're flushing their lines, put it in some container. You can use that for watering plants or washing dishes. But instead of just letting it go down the sink, you can actually use it for something else. So when you're flushing your lines, as we talk about conservation, use that water, use it wisely. So let's water our plants with some of that water.
Yeah, and I'm just ending budget season here, but I do know there was a slight rate increase for water, and again, that is to help maintain our infrastructure,
Yes.
and we've been doing that for a while.
Yes.
Would either of you care to comment about that? Or?
I would say, maintaining our infrastructure is of great importance. We need to make sure that we have a sustainable supply and can treat it to all of these standards. And so part of the reason, so those rates go to help pay for all of that and ensure that we can continue to deliver safe water to our customers. And our conservation program helps us offset some of those demands as well. So that always helps. Conserving actually does help keep our rates lower.
That's great, that's great. So if people want to learn more about Durham water management, where can they go?
They can always visit our website at durhamsaveswater.org or the city's website, durhamnc.gov.
Okay, all right. And you have a Twitter feed, Facebook, and
Yeah,
all
we're
that good
on
old social media?
Of course. Our Twitter account is Durham Water, and we are on Facebook as well.
And we want people to follow us, right?
Yes.
Follow us on
Please follow
Facebook.
us.
Like us
Yeah.
and follow
Yes,
us, right?
yes.
Okay. So do any of you have any closing thoughts you'd like to share about our water supply and
Well,
safety?
I'd just like to say to citizens of Durham that Durham is very concerned about water quality and what comes to your tap. And we're making sure every day that we're testing to make sure that the water that you get from your tap meets all state and federal regulations. So you should be assured that when you turn your tap on, this water has been tested, it meets the standards, and it is safe for your consumption.
Great, great. And what about conservation? Final message.
Right, and again, along those lines, Durham's committed to making sure that we have a sustainable water supply for our community, and we encourage everybody to do their part to help save that resource.
Great, great. Both of you, thank you so much for joining me. I
Thank
really
you for having
appreciate
us.
it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that does it for this edition of City Life. And don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and watch us on Durham Television Network and on YouTube. Plus, stay right where you are to get a sneak peek at what's to come in the next edition of Durham Magazine. I'm Beverly Thompson. Thank you for joining me to learn more about city life in Durham.
This has been a production of Durham Television Network.
Hi everyone! Happy summer! Don't miss Durham Magazine's June-July issue. We present 23 ways to have a fantastic summer, from live outdoor concerts and farm stand visits to the American Dance Festival and time on the Eno River. Elsewhere in the issue, you'll find Father's Day gift ideas, plus features on the voice of the Durham Bulls, Tony Rigsby, and Nikki Hill, who's performing at the Festival for the Eno on July 4th. And legendary track and field coach Al Bueller reflects on his many memories and accomplishments, having retired from Duke's faculty last year to spend his golden years at the Forest at Duke. That's part of our annual retirement guide. You can find copies of Durham Magazine all over the city for free at grocery stores, coffee shops, boutiques, bookstores, and more. Or you can subscribe by going to durhammag.com. You can also read the entire issue online via our website. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook to stay up to date on the latest happenings around Durham. Thank you, as always, for reading Durham Magazine.